Good morning, dear hearts. We are at lesson 72. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. This lesson starts out by telling us that the ego's fundamental wish is to replace God. That's one thing to know. The second thing to know is that the body is a grievance. Holding on to the body is an attack on God's plan for salvation because the body is a limit and it limits our communication because it is that fence that we have that holds us back from communication with our brothers. It does that. The reason that the body limits communication is because in my mind, I make judgments about others, and every judgment I make is body-bound thoughts. It is perceptions of bodies. My body, other bodies, what I think the body is doing, which has nothing to do with the truth of the being that is surrounded by the body. Okay, the body disguises who we really are. What the ego does in this, and this might be a little convoluted and hard to understand, and I get that, but let's see how we can unfold this. What the ego does is the ego does to God what we do to other bodies, which is to project our shortcomings onto it. So the ego projects its shortcomings onto God, and one of the ego's shortcomings is death. Okay, the home of the ego is the body. The body will not live forever. It is not everlasting. It will die. But instead of the ego holding that, it projects that onto God. Also, what is projected onto God is a body. So now, since we see God as a body and we die, then God must die as well. God is therefore no longer everlasting. God is no longer eternal, all right? And this is an attack on God by the ego. If I see God as a body, I see God as a limitation. There's an amazing quote that I always thought was from Oscar Wilde, but it isn't. It's from Frank Wedekind. And it is that God created man in his image and man returned the favor, okay? The image that we're really created in is spirit. That's who we are. But this body has switched everything around. And when we look at great art, what do we see? We see God depicted as a body because the artist can't paint spirit. So part of this is that, as the lesson says, herein is God attacked by making him a body. For if his son is only a body, so must he be as well. A creator wholly unlike his creation is inconceivable. So if we are created in God's image, we are a body. God must be a body as well. But this lesson goes on to say that to be without a body is to be in our natural state. This isn't who we are. But because we think we are, if that belief that I am a body is so much stronger than the idea that I am really spirit in a state of grace forever, as the text has told me long, long ago in the very beginning, then I need to shift my thoughts. And I have to release my grievances. I have to release my body belief. The course later gets into this, and those of you who have gone through the course before, if this is not your first time, the final review in part 1 of the workbook is all about that I am not a body. I am free, for I am still as God created me. And we'll obviously talk about that when we get there. But we get to accept the idea that this is not what we are. We are not this limitation. And it says that when we do this, and whenever his plan is accepted, it is accomplished. As soon as we have the willingness to accept the fact that we are not this, okay? We know that there is another plan for our salvation, for our freedom, for our happiness, and this isn't it. As soon as we accept it, it's already accomplished. The practice periods today are every hour and twice an hour, and the practice is to go within and to ask, what is salvation, Father? I do not know. Tell me that I may understand. And then we are to wait, be quiet, obviously, and allow this answer to come. Now, unlike the ego, whose mantra is what we discussed yesterday, is seek and do not find. For this, it says, we will be answered. We seek and we will find. We will get the answer of where is our salvation? What is our salvation? It says, I do not know. Tell me that I may understand. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. Holding on to my body and thinking that this is all I am, that this is my limitation, is attacking God, who has a much greater, loftier plan for our salvation. But we must drop our body identity to be able to accept it and accomplish it. I hope this helped. Read this lesson, and it's beautiful, and it is a little different than some of our others. And you may notice that the lessons are getting longer. So, in the meantime, please like, please share, please subscribe. Certainly, please comment, and please be here tomorrow for a beautiful lesson. Okay? Spoiler alert. Namaste.